So another guy I want to kind of circle around to is the struggles of the Calgary Flames here. They drop another one. They got Ottawa coming up, and Nazim Kadri.
Yeah.
Like, where do we see him going? Or is there any rumors around him? Because he's going to be a big pick because he seems like that typical playoff player that you're going to need come playoff time.
Yeah, Hutch, there's a lot of teams that would love to get their hands on him. But this is a delicate situation. I know because Calgary's in the crapper right now, everyone's going to zero in on them and say, well, it has to be Kadri. Like, obviously, there's Rasmus Anderson, and he's got a few teams that he would go to in terms of signing an extension right away. But who's the other big fish? And everyone's zeroing in on Kadri. And then with the everyone thought he had at the start of the season a full no move, but it's a 13-team no trade list that everyone thought kicked in next season. No, it's now. So those elements have escalated, A, the speculation, and B, the inquiries. The thing is, he's got 3 more years left in his contract, and he really does, him and his family really do like being in Calgary. So this isn't a scenario where, he's on an expiring deal or there's another year left on his contract, and the Flames, given their situation, may have to escalate things and strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. They've got time. Unless someone is going to overpay for Nazim Kadri, he's probably staying in Calgary. And that's the good thing from Craig Conroy's perspective. Their GM is, I don't have to do this now. I don't have to do this next season. I don't have to do this the season after that. So if you want this guy right now for your cup run/runs, you're going to have to pay a premium. Really, the guy I'm looking at in Calgary, again, outside of Rasmus Anderson, because by all accounts he's getting moved this season, is Blake Coleman. Another year on his deal. He's been there before. He's won cups. He's brought in by Tampa to be that third-line guy with others. He's an energy. He's a spark guy. He's not afraid to get dirty, especially come playoff time. Like, that's the guy that I look as more likely to be moved than a guy like Kadri right now. It's not to say they both can't. And if the offers aren't good for Coleman, then obviously Calgary's going to hold on to him because he's got term. But that's the one that I think might be more palatable to move and to acquire as well because the cap hits lower.
Two teams that had not so great Octobers that I'm looking at going into November, kind of being like, man, if they don't get hot at some point, or if they were to potentially have a bad November, there'd be a lot of noise around them. The two teams are the Rangers and the Canucks. Which one of those two do you think needs to have a good November more, just to not have the noise be around
them? It's funnier in Vancouver when the noise is so loud. It really is. It's almost as aggressive in both markets. Like, I think Vancouver to a certain extent because, this was a team that both teams really anticipated kind of getting back on track this season. Now they've been, the Canucks have been pummeled with injuries lately, and really since the start of the season. But
I think we might have lost him there, Ty.
Oh, we might have lost Dave.
I did like how he said funnier in Vancouver, because it is funnier in Vancouver. It does feel, there he is. There he goes. I was going off your
Canucks fans
because it feels that way.
Yeah, well, they're already coming after me. So, just going back on that, like with all the injuries, with everything going on, it's a tough situation for the Canucks, but there's so much pressure to right this ship and to get back into playoff contention because of the whole Quinn Hughes factor. From the team, we need to do what we can to get back into this and obviously be a better hockey team and be part of a different narrative and discussion. And at the same time, we want to keep this guy around for a while. And he's got 2 years on his contract. He's not a free agent next summer, and he can't sign until July 1 of 26, just like Makar. So, the contract stuff is kind of moot, but they still got to prove they're on the right track. And the other thing too is, like, they've got a guy there in Kiefer Sherwood that everybody's talking about for good reason. What he's doing this season, I could tell you that, like, they have not talked contract. The Canucks have not reached out to his camp about at least initiating the contract discussion. I think they had some loose discussions going into the season, but they haven't started negotiations yet. And I know there's a little bit of worry there from the Canucks side of things going, well, how much is this guy really going to cost? And is his performance sustainable? Can he replicate 40-plus points, do what he can physically, and do this year after year after year? So there's some internal debate there, but they haven't reached out yet. So that's an interesting one for me. I don't know exactly what they're waiting for. I don't know if they have an internal game plan on it. And maybe it's just because it's a month into the season, you don't want to rush it. But they haven't started that conversation yet. In New York, yeah, there's a lot of pressure because you're in New York and your owner's nuts. But like this is going to be an interesting one, because if this team can't get going here, I don't see a scenario where keeping Artemi Panarin makes sense for them. And if they're by the halfway point of the season not in the mix, you have to look at moving them. Like you look at you're showing the goaltending stuff as well. I mean, Shesterkin has not been up to par. As you see, they haven't lit the lamp. They haven't helped them out either. Like this is a tough little scenario for Chris Drury and the Rangers. So much so that I don't even know if moving Panarin alone is all that they would consider doing. They moved out Keandre Miller. They brought in Vladislav Gavrikov. They wanted to give more responsibility to Schneider in the back end. He's an RFA this summer, and he's got arb rights. Do they finally look and consider moving him? Because they've been so reluctant to do that. This is more than just a cosmetic change that needs to happen with the Rangers. You're probably looking at not just Panarin, but if they don't get back on track, like you may have to look at some other pretty substantial moves here. The obvious other one is what do they do with Mika Zibanejad, who has been very adamant about wanting to stay, but he's got the full no move, so he's probably in full control. But as Drury has shown us in the past, he doesn't really care about no moves.
Yeah, I mean, he'll just put out a statement and say that he's looking to trade you. Really. David Pagnotta from the fourth period. Easy for me to say. I appreciate your time. Thanks for popping on, and we'll chat again next week.
Awesome. You got it. Thanks, boys.
Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.